Hey guys, welcome to today's video where I am going to take on the challenge of trying to feed myself for $3 a day for 3 days. If we haven't had the chance to hang out before, my name is Nikki. I'm an Aussie mum and I love sharing all of the tips and tricks that have helped our family budget better, demolish debt, skyrocket our savings, and still have heaps of frugal fun along the way. And one of the big ways that we found to help us pay off extra debt, particularly in the beginning, was to rein in our grocery budget. Now, if you've been hanging out on YouTube lately, you've probably seen a bunch of these extreme grocery challenge videos where people are challenging themselves to feed themselves for X amount of days on X amount of dollars for X amount of people. And there's a whole bunch of different ones out there. And I've watched them and I've been inspired by them, but there's that part of me that's sitting there thinking, you know, but here in Australia, the price of food is so much more expensive. And what better way to put that question to the test than to challenge myself to feed myself for 3 days on no more than $9 in total. So $3 a day for 3 days, and let's see what we can do. But before we get into my grocery haul, the groceries that I purchased for less than $9 and the meals that I pulled together and what I thought of them, I just want to say 2 things really quickly. First of all, this for me was a challenge. My family does have the means to buy more food should we need to. We do have that luxury. But I know that there are a lot of people out there in our community who don't have that luxury. And if that is you, or you know somebody who is struggling with food insecurity at the moment, I really do urge you to reach out to the organizations in your local area for help. And if you don't know where to look for help in your local community, then head over to askizzy.org.au. That has been set up to help Aussies in need connect with services in their local area that can help. All right, and the second thing that I want to say is that this meal plan is by no means perfect. It is really, really tough to buy enough food for breakfast, lunch, and dinner for 3 days on $9. So before I get into the nitty-gritty of that, why don't I turn this around and show you what I actually picked up with my $9. All right, well, this is what I've managed to pick up for less than $9. I think I've pretty much got everything covered here. What I have done is picked up a 1 kilo bag of rice. This is $1.40. I've picked up 1 packet of spaghetti for 80 cents. For protein, because meat is quite expensive and it's almost impossible to get meat in on a budget like this, I have gone for some lentils and some black beans. These are 80 cents each at Coles. For flavor, I have picked up a small tin of tomato paste. This was also 80 cents. I have some fruit, although it is tinned fruit. I've picked up pineapple pieces for $1.10. I potentially could have picked up 3 apples, but I myself can't eat apples, so I didn't do that. But I did have a look at fresh fruit options to come in with the budget that I had. And pineapple pieces were the best for me, but I potentially could have done fresh fruit if I could have eaten a few more things. And the other thing is too, I could have spiced the flavor up over in this department with some onion, but I can't eat onion or garlic. I can tolerate a small amount in some things, but to throw in an entire onion would not do me any good, but potentially could work for someone else. Vegetables, I opted for the good old mixed vegetable bag from Coles for $1.60, and we have some dairy, and I've picked up a 1 litre milk for $1.29. So that's it. That's everything that I've got for the next 3 days. Here is my receipt just to show you guys. That is everything that I paid, and my total came in at $8.60. So I did have a quick scoot around the shelves at Coles to see if there was anything else that I could pick up for 40 cents, but there was not. So that is it for me for the next 3 days. Let me show you what I'm going to make for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. All right, I'm going to start by cooking up 2 cups of dry rice. Pop this on, turn this on to high, and I'm going to let this cook for about 15 minutes. While the rice is cooking, I'm going to rinse off these black beans, and we're going to start making our beans and rice. To start our black bean sauce, I'm going to use half of the tomato paste, and I'm going to turn it into a bit of a sauce by also adding 1 cup of water. That's about half. I'm going to keep the other half for the bolognese, and I'm going to add 1 cup of water. I'm going to just let this heat up a little bit before I add in our black beans. Now this will be a really good time if you have seasonings that you wanted to add. You could add them. Something like a burrito mix or a taco mix would be great. Mexican flavored seasoning, or even just some Italian mixed herbs or anything that's going to add a little bit of kick would be nice. A little bit of chili would be nice. I mean, you could pretty much put anything that you wanted to just to flavor it. Or if you have nothing else, just a little bit of salt and pepper. So this is pretty much just turned to a tomato sauce, and we're going to get our black beans in here and cook them down a little bit. I'm going to pop the lid on this, and I'm just going to let this simmer for 5 to 10 minutes until these beans soften a little bit, and I can sort of half mash some of them and leave some of them whole, and then we're going to pop in our veggies. All right, once the rice is cooked, I'm going to drain this. Set half aside for our black beans and rice, and we're going to use half for our creamed rice for breakfast. So these containers are from Kmart. They're a meal prep container, and these ones actually hold 4 cups. So these are quite large. I'm going to be using these to hold my meals that I've made for the next 3 days. So I'm going to start by filling these up with some of the rice that we just cooked. I'm going to use half of the rice, and as you can see, these are going to make really big serves because 4 cups is a lot. Our beans have been simmering away over here, and I just like to sort of get them to a point where they're sort of mashable under the spoon. And what I want to do is sort of mash some of them, leave some of them whole. Mashing it will sort of thicken up the sauce a little bit, and once these beans are almost ready, we're going to throw in the vegetables. So I'm going to start by adding 2 cups of our frozen mixed vegetables. These are actually carrots, broccoli core, cauliflower core, and peas. So a little bit of variety here. It's probably not very Mexican-ish. It would be nice if you could have some corn or something in a dish like this, but this is veggies nonetheless. So that was 2 cups. Let's see how that goes. And at this point, what I like to do is just see if it needs a little bit more water to make it go a little bit further, and see if we want to add any more veggies. I might add just another half a cup of veggies and half a cup of water, so this is nice and saucy. I'm going to let this cook for just a few more minutes, but because this is going to go into the fridge and I'm going to reheat it when I have it, I'm not going to worry terribly much about cooking the veggies all the way through. I just want them cooked enough that when I go to microwave them, they're going to be nice when I reheat it. Alright, once that's finished cooking, we're just going to divide that amongst our dishes. So we're going to start by getting our pot of water to the boil. Once that's boiling, we'll pop in the pasta and cook that as directed. And over in the frying pan, we're going to start making the tomato paste the same way that we did for the rice and beans dish. So we're going to start with the tomato paste and we're going to add 1 cup of water and turn this into a sauce. While that is heating up, again, if you have some Italian herbs or mixed herbs or something like that, that would be great to put in there, or even just a little bit of salt and pepper would be nice. While this is heating up and our water is coming to the boil, I'm going to go and drain these lentils. While our pasta is cooking, I'm going to go ahead and get in those lentils that we've rinsed off. Get these simmering to soften, so they're going to cook for probably about 10 minutes before I put the vegetables in. Alright, once our lentils have had a little bit of a cook, we're going to get the mixed vegetables in. So we've still got quite a bit of that bag left because I've only used 2 cups out of it, 2.5 cups. So I'm going to get another 2 cups in here and get these cooking. 3 in this one. Alright, so that is actually 3 cups of veggies and we've still got probably 2 cups left. Mix this all together. Now, one thing that I did do, I didn't actually record, was I filled up the little tomato paste tin with water and just made sure I got all of the tomato paste out of that and popped that water in here too. So we're going to let this cook down. I am going to reserve just a little bit of the pasta water, probably about half a cup of that, and pop that in here as well, and that's just going to help the pasta stick to the sauce when it comes time to mix them together. Alright, so once this pasta is cooked, I'm just going to take just a little bit of this cooking water, which has got all the starch in it, and add it to our pasta sauce. Let that cook away. Now I'm going to go and drain this, and then we're going to add the pasta to the sauce. Alright, I actually thought I was filming then, but apparently I wasn't. I've just swapped over to the bigger pot because this one wasn't big enough. And these ones are also going to go into the 4-cup sized black containers. Alright, so we've hit an interesting point here where These have probably got more than enough in them for me to have, but as you can see, there's still half of the pot left. So this probably really made about 6 serves for my liking. So this is definitely going to go a lot further if you have a bigger appetite, or you can just make it go a little bit further if that's what you want, a few more meals rather than bigger serves. So there we have our pasta all served up. There's the 3 larger containers down the bottom. They hold up to 4 cups, and these are the smaller containers that hold 650 mils. So I guess there are some snacks if I get hungry. Alright, to get started on our creamed rice, I'm going to take the leftover rice from our beans and rice. And to sweeten it, I'm going to use the juice out of our pineapple pieces. Keep the pineapple pieces because we can add them to our breakfast in the morning, or we can use these as a snack. All right, at this point, we're going to put the pot on a low heat, and we're just going to start mixing through 1 cup at a time of the milk, a bit like we're making risotto. All right, so at this point, we've got almost all of the pineapple juice and the 1 cup of milk that I added to this absorbed and reduced. And at this point, because the rice was pre-cooked in some water already, as you can see, it's turned pretty much into a porridge. I don't know that I really need to add any more liquid at this point. I'm just going to let the last little bit just reduce off, and then I'm going to pop it into some containers and pop it in the fridge, and I can have this either cold or warmed up for breakfast in the morning. All right, so I'm going for a fairly small container for my breakfast serves because I don't eat a huge breakfast. These hold 650 mils, so they're still 2.5 cups. If you wanted to do a larger serve for breakfast, there is certainly a lot of rice left and there's still plenty of milk, so you could certainly make this a lot bigger than what I have, but I've just made these serves to my liking, so I'm going to get these dished up, and then when I serve it in the morning I will put some of the pineapple with it. Alright, and we'll pop these in the fridge, ready to go. Alright, just so you guys can see everything, I have meal prepped everything in advance, so this is all just ready to go. It's going to make it easier for me to eat these meals while my family eats just regularly as they do, because they're not participating in this challenge alongside me. This is just me. So I do have the creamed rice ready to go for breakfast, along with the pineapple that I'm going to put a little bit on top, and I can have the pineapple for a snack as well. For lunches, I've made this really big pot of the lentil spaghetti, and for dinner I have the black beans and rice, also with veggies, and I have a couple of leftover containers of the spaghetti if I am still hungry after I have eaten all of that. So that's everything that I've cooked up and used. This is what I still have left over. So I still have probably 2 cups of the vegetables. There's a little bit left there. I have probably more than half of the rice, and I still have 3 cups left in the milk because I only used 1. Now, if I wanted to make some more creamed rice in the morning, I certainly could. It's not going to be sweetened with the pineapple, but I could certainly make it just with rice and milk, and I could have a little bit more for breakfast if I wanted to. Or I could hold these over and use these and then do another $9 challenge, and I wouldn't have to buy rice and milk, and I'd have a little bit of veggies up my sleeve as well. So as you can see, $9 has gone quite a long way. It was actually $8.60. So I think there's probably more than enough there for me to eat, and I would actually have a couple of things up my sleeve if I wanted to repeat the challenge back to back and start building up a little bit of a supply, building up a bit of a pantry with some things like particularly the rice that can just go and sit on the shelf and I could use again in another challenge. Hindsight is a wonderful thing, and there are a couple of things that I would actually do different if I had my time over again, and I guess this is the thing that we learn from challenges. So what I wanted to share with you guys just real quick is the changes that I would make if I did this exact challenge with these exact foods over again. The first thing that I would do is that I would actually cook the rice porridge with the milk. I ended up having heaps of leftover milk that I should have cooked the rice from scratch as a traditional creamed rice using the milk rather than cooking it in water first and then cooking it in some milk, because it was a little bit bland in taste. I kept the milk thinking that I could have it as a drink if I was still hungry, and I didn't end up using it. So I would cook creamed rice for breakfast per a regular creamed rice recipe, cook it straight in milk. So that's the first thing that I do. The second thing that I would do differently is I would cook half of the spaghetti pasta that I did. The packet that I had 4 serves in it, and I figured that I would cook it all up because I'd probably be hungry and I'd want to eat the extra pasta. It made so much pasta, it was crazy. So if it was for me, I would actually cook half of the spaghetti and use it with the lentil bolognese, and I think that then there would be more of the lentil bolognese sauce with each dish, and I would still have half a packet of pasta that I could use for something else in maybe a different recipe another day or something like that. And the other thing that I would change is, if I could, I would definitely use spices. So if you have any seasonings at home that you want to throw in there, I would encourage you to do that just to change the flavor of things up a little bit. I was definitely missing a few different flavors and a few different tastes in those meals. Otherwise, they were really filling. They were just a little bit the same, if that makes sense. And the other thing I would have done if I had a little bit of extra in my budget, and maybe, I don't know, maybe next time I will do a $10 challenge, I would have tried to add a little bit of Parmesan cheese. Now I know I can pick up a packet of Parmesan cheese for $1.60 from Coles, and I really think that would have made all the difference to those lunch and dinner dishes to be able to sprinkle a little bit of Parmesan cheese over the top. Probably would have changed the entire dynamic of it and changed the flavor. So if I had a couple of extra dollars, that would have been the thing that I did. That and probably some spices and change the flavor up. But that's pretty much all I would change looking back on it. I was full, the meals were filling, there was definitely a lot of carbs. I wasn't lacking in that department. I managed to get some vegetables, I managed to get a little bit of fruit in every day, I did have some dairy, and at the end of the day, I suppose I made it through 3 days and I wasn't hungry. Well, thank you for spending a little bit of time here with me today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, if you could please give it a thumbs up, I really would appreciate that. It lets me know the kind of content that you guys are enjoying and what you would like to see more of. And if you would like to see more videos like this from me, then I hope you consider hitting that subscribe button down below. It is the best way to be notified when my new videos come out. And I have heaps of new content in the works for you guys coming up this year. Well, I hope you guys have a fantastic week. I do hope to see you in the next video. Until then, take care. Bye.